Whoever tries to keep their life will lose it. This is probably one of the most enigmatic scriptures in the Bible. People need to realize the Bible is a spiritual book, and humanizing it will keep you in the dark. You cannot oscillate between spiritual and material thoughts and truly evolve in your spiritual journey. The Bible is a book shared from the mind of a spiritual being, not material. We have the capability of thinking purely spiritually, but most people are confused and build material solutions. Luke 17:33, whoever tries to keep their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life will preserve it. Christ told us if we try to keep our life, we will lose it. What does this mean? If you are evolving spiritually, you know this, but most of us lean on our own understanding and not spiritual understanding. When you begin to plan how you will save your life materially, there is a separation from spirit. The simple act of physical self-preservation causes you to provide your own solutions to an inevitable spiritual outcome. You also stop being spiritual when you become a material world survivalist. You remove your hedge of protection and spiritual inclusion into the kingdom within. You are seeking external survival as opposed to internal survival. People must realize there is a spiritual law of supply and prosper we have access to in our lives, where what we need will manifest when we need it. This is a promise from the Most High. How is it holy men, including the Son of God, could live in the desert for 40 days with no supplies? They did not bring 2 months of food and water with them. In fact, they traveled light. Yes, all their needs were provided for while living in the desert. They kept the connection with the spiritual realm, which steadily provided them with sustenance. Christ told us we have access to this same storehouse. Matthew 6:31-34. So don't worry about these things, saying, what will we eat, what will we drink, and what will we wear? These things dominate the thoughts of unbelievers. But your heavenly Father already knows all your needs. Seek the kingdom of God above all else, and live righteously, and He will give you everything you need. So don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. Today's trouble is enough for today. Now Christ told us to take no thought and concerns for food and water, because He knew if you stay connected to the Spirit, all things will be provided. You corrupt it and disconnect from it when you energize your mind with a material plan. In essence, you are telling the Most High you do not need Him and that you got it. There is an actual chain reaction when you rely on Spirit to manifest in your life. These are laws the Most High put into motion, and as you know, the Most High never changes. Just like our physical understanding of the law of gravity, there is a spiritual law of supply we have access. It is imperative we trust this law to manifest in our life and not replace it with material survival solutions. How many of us have the confidence to go into the desert right now with just a pair of Birkenstocks on our feet? When you do not honor the spiritual law into your life, you are actually demonstrating a lack of faith in it. You are telling the Most High you do not believe this is possible. So guess what? You will not receive from Him, and you will be relying on man. You would rather, or who would you rather have behind you, man or the Most High? This is a simple case of understanding, accepting, and practicing this law of spiritual supply in our lives. And I'm sharing this with you because I know this is what I've relied on for all my life. I've followed the path of relying on the Lord, and He's provided, He's delivered, miraculously at times. So, the problem is people have been led to believe they must plan to survive, which separates them from the Spirit. This is why Christ said, whoever tries to save their life will lose it. He knew these people would stop being spiritual beings and shift into material beings only. People become obsessed with their own survival and remove themselves from the body of Christ. We were even told to have no fear of death because it is nothing more than a transition. We have hundreds of cases where people have momentarily died and been whisked away to the third heaven to meet Christ and then return. Yet people are afraid of death and begin to hoard supplies to circumvent that outcome. Just by shifting our minds and to staying in alignment with the Spirit at all times is our safeguard from the true death. Of that of the soul is the true death, and that's you need to put on that spiritual armor of God. And this is the problem with most people. They flip-flop between the spiritual and the material mind, or some of them don't have spiritual mind at all. They're all material, especially in our secular world today. And in case you haven't got the drift yet, this video is sponsored. Yeah, it was sponsored by all you out there that are running around talking about this is going to happen, that's going to happen, economic crash, asteroid explosion, tsunami, nuclear attack. I could go on and on. Plague, zombies. Whatever it may be. And everybody's like, prep, supply, run, get out of the country. You got to get out of America now. Hurry, before it all comes crashing down. Okay? You get my drift? See how silly that is? And most of these people spouting and pouting say they're Christians. In fact, a lot of them are doing this right after backing a so-called prophecy of disasters. I had a vision. The Lord told me. He showed me the scripture and showed me what it meant. And it's the fall of Babylon, America, and the end of the, he's coming back, and whatever. Okay? What you tripping on? That's what I'm asking. What you tripping on? So, just by doing this, did I break out already? Yeah. Sorry if I sniffle, because I'm starting to get stuffed up again. So, anyway, just by doing this, you break, the flip-flop between spiritual and material mind. Just by doing this, you break your connection with spirit. Christ was not a flip-flopper. He demonstrated to us to keep our mind and spirit at all times. He knew the spirit, and that's another thing. All you people tripping on your little habits. Here, I'll take a drag off my cigar while I do it. Say. These are things that have been instructed to you by men of the pulpit to control you and to keep you in a smaller state of mind when you think about what you've been told are sins. Okay? Cuss words. Excuse me, man. My nose is literally dripping. Cuss words, smoking, your sexual habits or preference, whatever. All your little physicality crap is not sin. That is not what the Bible is talking about in sin at all. And I'd have to make a whole nother video on what sin really is, about the energy level and the frequency and the lower, higher vibrations and the whole. Sin is, and the sins that he talks about are true sins against other people or him. Okay, if you think about it, if you actually read the Ten Commandments, if you actually read what Christ was teaching and saying, we're talking idolatry is sin. Okay? Graven images is sin. I could go down the list of basically everything that almost every Christian church in the nation and country and world does, and they are sins, while they're telling you all your stupid little physical habits are the sins, when in fact, it's a spiritual battle. Yes. You're supposed to take care of your temple, your body, the temple. But we are human. Okay? And God isn't judging you because you may have gotten caught up in the habit of smoking. That does not make one lick of difference in your judgment. The sin is a much bigger thing than stupid little physical habits. Okay, so Christ was not a flip-flopper. He demonstrated us keep our mind on the Spirit. Everything he taught us was about the Spirit. It wasn't about physicalities. It wasn't of this world. It was about breaking away from this world, if anything else. So he knew the spiritual configuration requires us to believe we will receive, and then we will. And this is the configuration we talk about in the quantum aspects. Okay, what you believe in, the law of what. Also, other people have taken what they call the law of attraction. Okay, and they've twisted it into some new age ideology when actually it's a law. It's a law of the physical of this material universe, and regarding what you believe in and how what your beliefs, your true beliefs, affect what manifests into your life. Now, it is as simple as that. Otherwise, there would have been other instructions for spiritual supply. This is why he used the birds as an example, and the fact that the birds do not have a storehouse for their food. There are already spiritual laws in place, and of course, they're trying to disrupt they have disrupted God's natural provision for us. Our society model and Satan's society model here. We can't hunt freely. We can't fish freely. We have to pay Satan to fish for a fishing license or a hunting license. We have certain areas, certain quotas, certain limitations. The food chain has been destroyed. The way we get our food, the way we prepare our food, everything has been destroyed. The whole process that we should be living by and trusting in has been corrupted and destroyed, and then done away with in people's beliefs because they've been reprogrammed and not taught the right things. So there are already spiritual laws in place to provide for the animal kingdom, and we, being his greatest creation, have spiritual laws to feed, water, and clothe ourselves. The Israelites in the desert eventually ran out of supplies, yet food and water was supplied to them based on the belief and faith of one man. When it comes down to prophecy, many horrible things will happen, but Christ tells us some will be found worthy to escape all these things. And you don't escape them, people, with some rapture and getting floating up in the clouds with the Lord. And you escape them by standing your ground, by standing firm in your faith and being a witness for the Most High. Okay? That's how you escape it. You escape it by heading towards it. Get it? It's like an example I used in the last video, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You walk into the furnace, damn it. You don't run away from it. So, and you don't worry about running away from it. You don't sit here and, oh my God, it's the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Should this not be the true focus of people seeking the kingdom? Should the question be, how can I be found worthy? What does it mean to be worthy? All of this falls under the spiritual umbrella and will not include bullets, gold, food, and water. If that was the end, all you people stocking that stuff up, when the government comes, just like in Katrina and all other examples of exercises they've pulled, they're going to take your guns. They'll take your water. They'll take your gold. They'll take your food. They've got laws and rules in place already for continuance of government to accommodate all your resources. Okay? Understand that. So, besides that, if that was the case, why were we not directed to do so? It is imperative we shift our minds to solely a spiritual understanding of the Bible. Just the act of mixing material opinions with spiritual law is a disconnect. The latest example of the Florida woman who was attacked by a black bear is the perfect example. She testified during the attack that she spoke with Jesus, and he was fine with her losing her physical life. He told her, "Do not worry, and she will be at peace and be with him." His first inclination was to allow her to be physically killed by the bear. It was when she asked to be released from the jaws of the bear and stay on earth for her kids, he acquiesced. Okay, I have personally been practicing the law of spiritual supply in my life for the past few years. I've been doing it for over 40 some years. The Most High has touched the hearts of very kind people who have kept the show on the road. I know this because I've surrendered myself to this law, and He is fulfilling it as promised. It makes me feel awesome and free because no man has any power over me. And I just need Him, and He needs me to keep His system flowing. And I'm the same way. Not only am I a non-participator, I don't did away with bank accounts, credit cards, all that stuff long ago. And it was easier for me because I was never part of the system, being a felon and having a record and all this not fitting in anyway. So it was easy for me to disconnect. And I don't use doctors. I rely on the Lord for my health, to show me the natural remedies I need and whatever else. I don't rely on man. I don't call 911 for help. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me keep going because this wasn't supposed to stretch out this long. There's more stuff to fit in here. He desires more success stories, and all you have to do is stop trying to save your own life. How does this affect other spiritual truths in your mind? When you begin to pick and choose what laws of the Most High you will honor and respect. Now, here's the kicker. Those of us who do not try to save our life, preserve it. You know why? Let's take a look at this. While everyone else has a 2,000-gallon water supply in the garage and 2 tons of freeze-dried food, they will be waiting it out without the Most High. He will not know them because they did not seek Him. There are a myriad of other dynamics at play here as well. It reminds me of the post-apocalyptic movie The Road, where the nuclear war father and the son of survivors lucked up upon an underground storehouse full of food and water. What happened to the owners of this food and water? They had died, leaving the supplies to the father and the son, who had no supplies. People would become desperate to feed themselves and their family in times like this. In fact, this is not part of the article, but they will run to those FEMA camps for help. Those FEMA camps will be medical centers and help centers in the eyes of the people. So now you're placed in a situation where you must defend your storehouse. Will you kill when the word says do not kill to protect your storehouse? It's like the question about the nation. Will you kill for your nation? Will you kill for material gain? Do you think that that's okay? I'm here telling you it's not. Jesus told you it's not. These are all material-based outcomes. And yeah, people are going to go crazy with self-defense, self-defense. And believe me, hey, when it comes to self-defense, I'll be the first one to probably break the commandment. I'll tell you that now. Because, yeah, I do believe in self-defense and protecting your family. When you're talking about protecting life. Physical life even. But life. Taken by a hand. If you're protecting and defending yourself against a murderer or, somebody who wishes to do you harm, then that's a different dynamic than when you're killing to protect an ideology or just some material object like food or money or oil or whatever. Get it? You see the difference? Life, inanimate objects. Okay, so now you are placed in a situation where, alright, will you kill? When you shift over to not trying to save your own life, you begin to invite spiritual forces into your life. Now, this is another thing, too. It would depend on the situation, because I have been in situations to where violence wasn't the answer, even though it seemed like the answer at the time. And I've been fortunate enough to make the right choice to not use the violence, and then saw how the Spirit could work it out anyway. So there are times when you have to trust in the Spirit and not act brashly or rashly or emotionally or out of temper or fear or anger. which is one and the same, anger and fear. It really is. It's one and the same. One of the greatest acts you can do on this earth is lay down your life for your friends. Okay? And that's where we get back to what I was talking about, defending life. You're defending, if you lay down your life, if you put your life on the line to protect your friend's life, that's one thing. Protecting another life. So, John 15:13, greater love has no one than this, and lays down one's life for his friends. And it doesn't mean just to protect them either. I mean, people lay down their lives all the time for people in many different ways. So, alright, now to the dynamic of whoever loses their life will preserve it. This is an example of staying in spirit. By this I mean keeping your thoughts aligned with spirit. Once men truly have crossed over to spiritual mechanics, it appears to change the atomic structure of the human body, and this is true. It's just like being saved. Once you make that choice to believe and you are quote-unquote born again, there is literally a DNA change in you. He makes you whole. Jonathan Kleck has shown you this example with the cross and the two sinners on either side, and he is perfectly correct in his symbology and analogy of that dynamic. That is exactly what's going on, and you, whether you want to believe or not, this isn't a discussion or debate, okay? I know the facts. I don't believe, I know, because I've been to the crossroads. I've seen with my own eyes. So, yeah, they got me down memory lane, and that made me lose my train of thought there, but, I totally forgot everything once I went down there. So, okay, let's talk about the DNA change. Yeah, it is a physical change. Literally, that's what the bloodshed is. That's what the whole blood is about. The fixing of the problem in your DNA, and it can be done with the change of your belief, because this material existence that you think is so set in stone on certain what we think are physics is actually manipulatable, or whatever you would call that word, but malleable. Okay, it's malleable. It can be changed, and we're going to throw in another section here that gives a story of the Bible of exactly how Jesus, one example of how he manipulated the energies and created something out of nothing, or changed the dynamic. It's just like when he's healing people and stuff. I mean, this stuff is instantaneous by the source. When you're talking, because God is the source. I mean, so, okay, we'll get on to this next part. Just to follow up, Mark 8:35. This is the context. And he summed the crowd with his disciples and said to them, if anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whosoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and the gospel's will save it. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? Okay, now, feeding the 4,000. In those days, the multitude being very great and having nothing to eat, Jesus called his disciples unto him, and saith unto them, I have compassion on the multitude, because they have now been with me 3 days, and have had nothing to eat. And if I send them away, fasting, to their own houses, they will faint by the way, for the divers of them came from far. And his disciples answered him, from whence can a man satisfy these men with bread here in the wilderness? And he asked them, how many loaves have ye? And they said, 7. And he commanded the people to sit down on the ground, and he took the 7 loaves and gave thanks and brake, and gave to his disciples to set before them. And they did set them before the people. And they had a few small fishes, and he blessed and commanded them to set also them for them. So they did eat, and they were filled. And they took up of the broken meat that was left 7 baskets. And they that had eaten were about 4,000. And he sent them away. And straightway he entered into a ship with his disciples, and came into the parts of Dalmanutha, or Dalmanutha, whatever. So, how did Jesus take 7 loaves and feed 4,000, and 3 fishes or whatever, and feed that many people? How did that happen? Some type of magic? Yeah, it's the magic of quantum manifestation. So the Pharisees, I wanted to actually read another part of this. And the Pharisees came forth and began to question with him, seeking of him a sign from heaven, tempting him. And he sighed deeply in his spirit, and saith, Why doth this generation seek after a sign? Verily I say unto you, there shall be no sign given unto this generation. And he left them, and entering into the ship again, departed to the other side. Now the disciples had forgotten to take the bread. Neither had they in the ship with them more than 1 loaf. And he charged them, saying, Take heed, beware of leaven of the Pharisees, and of the leaven of Herod. And they reasoned amongst themselves, saying, It is because we have no bread. And when Jesus knew it, he saith unto them, Why reason ye, because ye have no bread? Perceive ye not yet, neither understand? See, they had just seen him feed 4,000 people with 7 loaves of bread, and they still didn't get it. Have ye your heart yet hardened? Having eyes, see ye not? Having ears, did you not hear? And do ye not remember what just happened? Right? When I brake the 5 loaves among 5,000, how many baskets full of fragments took ye up? They say unto him, 12. And when the 7 among the 4,000, how many baskets full of fragments took ye up? And they said, 7. And he said unto them, How is it that ye do not understand? And he cometh to Bethsaida, and I almost said Bethesda. And he cometh to Bethsaida, and they bring a blind man unto him, and he besought to touch him. And he took the blind man by the hand, he led him out of town, and when he had spit on his eyes, and he put his hands upon him, he asked him if he saw aught. And he looked up, and he said, I see men as trees walking. And after that he put his hands again upon his eyes, and made him look up. And he was restored, and saw every man clearly. And he sent him away to his house, saying, Neither go into town, nor tell it to any in the town. And Jesus went out, and his disciples into the town of Caesarea Philippi. And by the way he asked his disciples, saying unto them, Who do men say that I am? And they answered, John the Baptist, but some say Elijah, or Elias, and others, one of the prophets. And he saith unto them, But who saith ye that I am? And Peter answered and said unto him, Thou art the Christ. And he charged them that they should tell no man of him. Okay? Tell nobody. To tell the guy he healed. Don't go bragging about it. Okay? Just like in other scriptures, he's told us to, talked about the Pharisees, and they're wearing their robes and their flashiness and all their praying in public and their all this. But he ain't into all that, man. You pray in private, okay? You don't make a show of it for men. Oh, look how holy I am. I'm not holy. No. It's not even close to what I'm trying to do here. I'm not holy at all. I'm a sinner. Hold on. And he began to teach them, and the Son of Man must suffer many things. This is predicts him to be rejected of the elders and of the chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. He spake that saying openly. And Peter took him and began to rebuke him. But when he had turned about and looked on his disciples, he rebuked Peter, saying, Get thee behind me, Satan, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but the things that be of men. Now, why did he do that? Why did he say that? Because Peter, and he called Peter Satan, or said, Get behind me, Satan. No, because he knew that the spirit that was talking to him, the ideal that was going on to him, was not coming from the right spirit. It was coming from the flesh, because Peter didn't want him to die for his own personal selfish reasons. Please don't leave us, stay here with us. You know what I'm saying? So that's why he's saying, Get behind me. Thou savorest the things not the things that be of God, but the things that be of men, the physical part. So, and when he called up his people unto him, his disciples, and he said unto them, Whosoever shall come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whosoever shall save his life, will save his life, shall lose it. But whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel's, the same shall save it. For what shall it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed when he cometh in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. Alright, so we're going to edit this together with some other stuff. I hope I'm getting the message through here a little bit. You can also, I'll put in the links, parallel chapters. You can all get this all stuff at Bible Hub and check it out. Alright, and as you can see, there's plenty of examples where he talks about this dynamic. And it's alright, just chill out, okay? It's not time to go anywhere. You're alright. So this was, there's all these videos, all this prophecy and prophetic and disaster this, and oh, what are we going to do? Well, you're going to keep the faith, is what you're going to do. And stand strong, and don't be afraid to die. It's something I never understood from Christians, even when I was little. My parents weren't religious, but I actually was taught everything. For some reason, my mom put me in Catholic school, and from the very beginning, from preschool on, teaching my ABCs, how to swim. I had Catholic nuns teaching me how to swim and everything. They taught me everything. The basics when you're getting there, and but they weren't religious. I used to take myself to Sunday school and stuff when I was 7, 8 years old. I'd walk a mile down the road to the church by myself because my parents didn't do God back then. Now, they found God after they got divorced. But anyway, that's another story. Point being, I never did understand, even back then, why all the Christians, if they were so enamored with their God, why they were afraid to go meet him. You know what I mean? And they do. They latch on to their physical lives here like it's I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. If you it just shows their true lack of faith and belief, regardless of what they claim and what actions they try to portray, which of course we see the actions that are portrayed. There's all kinds of people out there spouting Jesus this and Jesus that, and using, and you know what? That is taking his name in vain. That is the definition. These preachers out here begging for your cash all the time, telling you all this crap that the evangelists spout on TV. You can go up to the higher channels and the Catholic channels and the TNNs and whatever, and all day long. The Creflo Dollars to the Joe Osteens. It don't matter who they are. They're out there preaching this junk and making tons of money and making themselves rich off of it and not giving that tithing back to the peoples. No, they're spending on their Learjets and their Lamborghinis and their Mercedes and their jewelry and whatever. Those people are the ones taking it in vain. I could sit here and say God damn all day long. And you know what? God damn it. That's not what it means, is my point. Okay? You've been taught wrong. You could cuss all day long. If it's appropriate, it's not going to matter. I mean, it's not going to matter even if it's not appropriate. Because this language, these words that you've been given as your little peon communication process mean nothing in the Spirit. The Spirit always revealed where you can't hide behind words. And so I'm sure this is long enough by now, and I'll edit it down. But thank you for joining me. I hope you see. I give you an example here. One, of the don't fear. Okay. Two, you see example of quantum manipulation. Whether in all the miracles, whether it's the walking on water, to the feeding the people, to the healing the people, it's all example of how malleable, okay, your reality is. And so don't be like the disciples and witness it. Even, they were witnesses and they still didn't understand it, still didn't get it. Of course they wouldn't necessarily. There was, we're cutting it down a lot more detailed and schematically than the simple faith that you need. You don't need to know any of this stuff really in detail. Because all you need to do is believe and have that faith. Some people like me weren't satisfied with blind faith. So we went down all the different paths searching for the truth. And, alright, thank you for joining me. God bless you.